In this video, we're going to find the equation of a line. And specifically, we're going to be finding the equation of a line given a slope and a point on that line. So hopefully you've seen equations of a line. We're going to focus on equations in slope-intercept form. That is the form y equals mx plus b. If a line is written as y equals mx plus b, then m is the slope of that line, and 0b is the y-intercept of that line. For instance, in other videos on this channel, we've graphed the equation of a line. And if our equation of a line is y equals 1/3 x minus 5, I can immediately see that the slope of that line is 1/3, and the y-intercept of that line is 0, -5. So if I were to graph that line, I would start with the y-intercept of 0, -5. And since the slope is 1/3, that's change in y over change in x. So change in y of 1 means go up 1, and change in x of 3 means go over 3. So I start at 0, -5, and then I go up 1 over 3, up 1 over 3. And again, I'm sure that most people, if they're watching this video, have graphed the equation of a line in a similar manner. If you haven't, again, we have videos on that. Now we're going to kind of do the opposite. We're going to be given information, and that information is going to be useful to create the equation of a line. And we will create some equations in general, and obviously it's useful to do this in word problems as well. So given some information about a line, can we create the equation of a line? Now slope-intercept form comes back into play. We have slope-intercept form of y equals mx plus b. So if I know a specific slope of the line, and if I know the y-intercept of that line, then I can write in the specific slope of m and the specific b value, which is the y value, the y-intercept, in for b, and all of a sudden I have the equation of a line. Now, being able to find the m and the b is going to be obviously the goal, and then writing the equation of a line. But the types of information that I can be given vary depending on the problem. We, in this section, are going to look at information where we have the slope of the line and any point on the line. In other videos, in our next videos, we're going to look at when we have information where we're given 2 points on the line. And then when we're given a parallel line and a point on the line. And if we're given a perpendicular line and a point on the line. So all of these different scenarios require slightly different techniques, but they're actually all going to come down to the same basic principle. If we're going to find the equation of a line, we first find the slope, and then we find the y-intercept. In other words, we find the m, and we find the b, and then we simply write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form as y equals mx plus b with the specific m and the specific b that we've just found. Let's do an example. So let's say we want to find the equation of a line with slope of 2 and which has y-intercept 0, 5. Now, this is maybe the easiest scenario because I'm given the slope and the point on the line is already the y-intercept. So what I do is I always usually write down my slope-intercept form first, y equals mx plus b, just to know that I'm looking for the m and the b. And then the first thing I do is I find the slope. Well, the slope is 2 because it tells me that, so m is equal to 2. And then I find the value of b, okay? Now, in this case, it's very, very easy. B is equal to 5 because it tells me that the y-intercept is 0, 5. But we'll see other ways to find this out in just a moment. So if I know the m is 2 and the b is 5, I can simply say, well, now I know my equation must be y equals 2x plus 5. Don't forget the y equals part. Some people will write down 2x plus 5. 2x plus 5 is not an equation. Y equals 2x plus 5 is. Let's look at a second example. It says find the equation of a line with slope of negative 1/3 and the line goes through point 6, 5. So this one, we're given the slope and a point on the line, but the point on the line is obviously not the y-intercept. All right, here it is. So because I'm given the slope, I'm going to know the m. I'm going to know that the m is negative 1/3 because I'm given that. So that's a very quick find. But that also means that my equation is going to look like y equals negative 1/3 times x plus some b that I don't know yet. So if I can simply find the b now, I will be good and I'll know what the equation is. So how do I find the b? Well, what I do is I use this point and what I know about this equation. This point is on the line. And what that means is that if I plug in the point values into the x's and the y's, it gives me a true statement. So I'm going to plug in the 6, 5 into that equation. Let me write that down. Plug in the point 6, 5 into that equation. Specifically, y equals negative 1/3 x plus b. And when you do that, make sure you put the y value in the y spot and the x value in the x spot. So 5 is the y value and 6 is the x value. And notice what I have here. Now that I've plugged in the 0.65 into that equation, Now I have another equation, and my only variable in that equation is b. So I can simply solve for b. When I multiply -1/3 times 6, I get a -2. I would add 2 to both sides and figure out that b has to be 7. That means my b is 7, I had already found out that my m was -1/3. So as my final answer, the equation that I was looking for is y equals -1/3 x plus 7. And that's my, again, final answer. So we find the m. In this case, the m was given to us. And then we find the b by plugging in our point into this equation. By the way, in our previous problem, we could have also plugged in the point into the equation and found the answer that way. Take a moment to pause the video and see if you can do this problem. All right, hopefully you tried that. If you didn't, I'm going to show you how it's done, so you can pause the video now if you'd like. So we're trying to find the equation of a line with slope -1/2 going through the point -6, 7. Again, I always like to write y equals mx plus b because I know that's what I'm looking for, so that I know that's what I'm looking for. My slope is given to me. It's -1/2. That's great. I have a point. So the equation, I know the equation is going to be y equals -1/2 x plus b. So to find the b, I plug in the point -6, 7 into the equation. I'll just write it that way. Be very careful again that you plug in the 7 in for the y and the -6 in for the x. And then once we've done that, we can simply solve this equation. 7 is equal to 3 plus b. When I subtract 3 from both sides, I get that b has to be 4. That means my final answer here, the equation that I was looking for, is y equals -1/2 times x plus 4. And that's all there is to it when we are given a slope and a point on the line. Let's do one more example. We're going to find the equation of a line with slope of -3 and that goes through the point 1, 4. Again, if you want to try it, push pause on the video. I'll give a few seconds and then I'll solve it. So here we go. We find the equation of a line with slope of -3 going through the point 1, 4. I write down the type of line I'm looking for, which is slope-intercept form. There are other forms of the line that you could use, but I'm going to use slope-intercept form every time. My slope is -3, so I know that my m is -3. So that means my equation is going to be y equals negative 3x plus some unknown b. At least it's unknown for right now. In order to find that b, I'm going to plug in the 0.14 into the equation. And that is going to give me 4 is equal to negative 3 times 1 plus b. So 4 is equal to negative 3 plus b. Adding 3 to both sides gives a b value of 7. And so now I know that the equation that I'm looking for is y equals negative 3x plus 7. And that would be my final answer. Again, remember to write the y equals part and then to write the right-hand side obviously correctly as well. But that's the idea. And you can do that over and over and over. Obviously, I used nice numbers where we got fairly nice slopes and fairly nice b values. Most of them were either fractions or whole numbers, but in general, you can get some ugly numbers too, some really ugly fractions for either your slope or your b value, or even irrational numbers for your slope and your b value. So that's the last example I'm going to do. But I want to just wrap this up by saying this is the video that looks at finding the equation of a line given slope and a point on the line. In our next videos, we're going to look at finding the equation of a line given 2 points, finding the equation of a line giving a point and a line parallel, finding the equation of a line given a point and a line perpendicular.